What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're doing something I've done, I don't know, half dozen, probably a dozen times to this truck already. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through how to change the fluid, the filter, the gasket, etc. on an E4OD. And on these E4ODs, they don't have drain plugs unless you have a 4R100 pan on there, so it's a absolute nightmare. But by nightmare, I just mean it's a god awful mess usually. So I'll show you how I do it. It involves, all you need tool wise is a 10 mil to pull off the bolts, and then a drain pan of some sort. It does take 16 total quarts. That includes the torque converter, so I usually run with 12, and obviously fill to what you need, but I always buy 3 gallons. I have some Mercon in the cabinet, but I don't run Mercon. I run Max Life Valvoline because it's half the price of Mercon, and Mercon's expensive. So, that's why I don't run it. I've gone through like 80 freaking quarts of Merc in here, in different units. It hasn't done a darn difference to me. So, where you go cheap. Anyway, filter, Amazon special with the gasket, Amazon special. All this stuff's off Amazon because it's cheaper off there. I've had good luck as far as actual parts from them. And the first time my trans blew up, the OEM unit, I was running a Wix filter in it and went through a full Wix warranty claim, and they denied the claim. So I'll never run another Wix unit again. So, hey, whatever. I'd put the factory filter back in, and the trans would actually go back into gear and move. It would slip like crazy, but then I'd put the Wix in, and it would do nothing. But they still claim they were not at fault, so it was a nightmare. Anyway, there's my 2 cents on Wix. Hell with you. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. Drain this out, drain it into something you're gonna actually have. You'll have to have a pretty good catch can, bucket, etc. First things first. Let's get underneath the truck. Grab your 10 mil, and that's all you need. All right. So since Ford decided to neglect to put a drain plug on arguably one of their worst transmissions, because obviously no one will ever need to get into this thing, we have to pull all of the bolts in order to drain the fluid out. Now, do you have to do it to drain all the fluid out? No. Well, essentially, yes. So what I do is I start about halfway back and then run all the way around this back half and loosen those. And so what'll start happening, that will start leaking a little bit. And as it starts to leak a little bit, you'll have the drain plan underneath there, and you'll continue to bring it back further and further and further. But yeah, all you'll need is a 10 mil, and you'll just start loosening them up. So hold on, be right back. So there's your absolute god-awful mess of how you drain an E4OD. So definitely do it from the back because the trans is sloped. There will still be plenty of fluid left in the pan when you go to drop it. So be careful about that. See? That's what I was saying. Alright, so now that the pan's off, you can see the fluid in there. It's nice and clean and red. I mean, that's pretty fluid. And you got your magnet down here that picks up particulate out of there. And there's definitely some on there, but it's nothing crazy. You know, it's got 40,000 miles on this trans. It was a fresh reman. So, I mean, I would expect there to be some break-in stuff. So, that doesn't overly confuse. All right. So, pans off. Pans off. Fluid's drained. Still dripping a little bit here and there. Now's the time that we got to pull the filter, and it's going to make another god-awful mess, usually. So what we're going to do is start working this filter down. And I don't remember if it's all going to come out of this piece here or not. I think it does. And if so, that means I'm just going to make a freaking huge hole and a huge mess right out of this top piece. But I'll be honest, it's been about a year. A year since I've last done this. So I don't... See? Told you it would do that all over me. Cool story, Joe. And I lost the seal that was in there. Always make sure you get your seal or you're going to blow this transmission up immediately. Alright, so I'm draining all the fluid out. I'm going to have to wipe my face off because I'm full of frickin'... Oh, God, I'm full of frickin' trans fluid. That's fun. All over my face. Alright, so there is no orange seal on this. I don't know if you can tell on there, but there isn't one. It's stuck up in the housing, so you need to get up there with a pick. I just tried to pull it off with my finger and it wouldn't pull off with my finger, so God almighty, I made a mess again. Oh, I hate trans fluid. Alright, so let's get a pick. Oh, and be careful not to cut yourself because all this stuff under here is pretty sharp and I just cut the daylights out of myself. Yeah, there we go. I got it now. Man, that was stuck. And there is nothing else in there. So we are clear for re-entry. And somehow my finger stopped bleeding, which is good. I'm not going to torque any of these. They take like inch pounds. But I will just touch them all to make sure nothing's loose. Don't want anything to be loose. I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Anyway, all right, let me go get my pan and filter and all that good stuff. All right, now we're just reversing it. Take this filter. I did put a little trans fluid on it just to insert it in there. Oh. There we go. Snugged up right in there, tucked in just like it should be. Nice and tight. All right, filter's on. Now grab your pan. I have a reusable gasket here that I think I'm going to use over the one I bought. If I'm being honest, it's got a metal liner to it. I think it just seals better, but I want to make sure it's not torn anywhere. All right, so this is the easier part of it all. I mean, again, not that any of this is hard. It's just a mess. Pan, gasket, grab some bolts and at least get like some corners in there so it can hold it up. And just be careful to make sure that you don't slip the gasket. And that's why I like these metal ones that are like rubber and metal, because they don't have a great ability to slip. Trans fluid does not feel good in open wounds. If anyone's curious, I can attest to that right now. All right, so it is fully put back on there now. And the headlamp just died, so good luck. But everything's put fully back on, bolted in tight. So now we'll get underneath the hood. All right, so trans is drained, pan is back on. We're ready to fill this thing back up. Now, what you got to remember is torque converter is not empty. And listen, that trans isn't empty. I have a billet converter in here. My God, I am bleeding like crazy. I have a billet converter in here that doesn't have a drain on it, so I can't drain it legitimately without pulling the trans. So I'm gonna put in, a few gallons, or I guess 2 gallons. See if it's anything on the dipstick, which there shouldn't be, and then start filling slowly after that. Once you turn it on and put it in gear, it'll pump full everything through that filter and pull fluid through. And then you'll want to do it again, to kind of make sure. You want to check your fluid with the truck in drive and your foot on the brake, and then you check it so everything's full, everything has fluid in it. So that's when you want to actually check it. But we're gonna do it the best we can tonight. All right. Now I'm gonna let this drain down for a second. You can hear it gurgling as it gets the bubbles through it. There will still be fluid in that filter or in the funnel. All right. Let's put the dipstick in. Now there will be, fluid running around that funnel or that. Now it shows fluid all the way up, but again, once I put this in gear, it's gonna suck a lot of that down. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna fire this up. I'm actually gonna back this out of the garage. So what you guys wouldn't have noticed there is I put that in reverse pretty much as soon as I fired that truck up. And it didn't move until all that fluid pumped through. So there was a lot of fluid it was pulling through that trans in order to get it, to get it fully primed back and get that pump, all the pumps, full. So I'm guessing there's quite a bit of fluid now that it's pulled through, pulled into it, and I can check it again now that it's, in the internals there, and see. Again, not the proper way, but should get us closer to the accurate fill level. All right, so I got my helper out here with me now. We got to fire the truck up, put it in gear, foot on the brake, then we'll check the fluid at the end and top it all off. So you want to make sure it's in gear, foot's on the brake, keep it stationary, but to be moving fluid throughout the truck. So I'm gonna dive in there and top this thing off. Well guys, that's a wrap on the fluid filter change on this E4OD. Actually, so I had my dad in the truck, put it in gear, foot on the brake, and fluid was dead on the cold fill line. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna check it, after a week or so, just to make sure that it's all good after driving it and such. But it was a mess. I cut the nonsense out of my finger. Shout out to Kids Band-Aids. Love those things. But I'll see you guys next time.